Section 1 of the book focuses on buying a car. So in lesson 1.1, we're going to analyze exactly what it means to buy a car. There's several things you should take into consideration when you're buying a car. First off, you want to always consider your needs for your vehicle and your financial situation. Next, you want to consider the pros and cons of the type of vehicle that you want to buy. And finally, you may want to take into consideration other unique situations that have to do with that vehicle. So the first type of car we're going to analyze is a four-door sedan. There are advantages and disadvantages to any item or any car that you buy. And so some of the advantages to owning a four-door sedan are that they are cheaper. Many times if you're looking to buy a car, a four-door sedan is one of the cheapest ones you can get. They're smaller, so they get great gas mileage, maintenance on a lot of these vehicles. It's a lot cheaper for the parts. The insurance prices on these vehicles are a lot cheaper. They're very easy to drive because they're so small, so you can fit in tight spaces. And because they are so low to the ground, if you're in a car accident, they typically don't flip. On the flip side, though, the disadvantage is that when you have a car like this, there's not a lot of storage in it. So if you like to store a lot of things in your car, especially like if you have a work vehicle and you have to keep a lot of tools, this would not be a good vehicle for you. You are limited by the number of passengers you can have because typically the most that'll fit in here is 5 passengers. Because this vehicle is smaller, if you do get into an accident, the vehicle has a higher chance of being totaled if there's a lot of damage to the accident. So since the cars are cheaper, they're not worth as much. And in an accident, if it is in a major accident, you may get it totaled, which means that the accident caused so much damage that it doesn't even cover the cost of the car. And then the last item is because you do sit lower to the ground, that you can't see as many things around you, because if you have other vehicles around you that are much larger, you can't see past them. Now, a sports utility vehicle is kind of a step up from this in the sense that a lot of people that look at four-door sedans may also consider an SUV. With an SUV, they are a lot more spacious than a four-door sedan, and they also have the back area for a lot more storage. Some SUVs even have a third row that they can sit up, and they can actually have 8 people in their car rather than only 5. With SUVs, many times they're made that you can take them off-roading because they're higher up off the ground, and if you drive off the road, you've got some space under your car. Some SUVs actually have a tow package on them, and you can haul things or tow things behind you in your car. And many times with an SUV, a lot of them have 4-wheel drive, and that means that they will drive very well in bad weather. That could be in the rain or even in the snow. Now, some of the disadvantages with an SUV is that they are a little bit more expensive to buy, especially when comparing them with a four-door sedan. An SUV, because it's bigger and it has more power, it's not going to get as great of gas mileage. And people who drive SUVs, because these are more expensive vehicles, their insurance rates might actually be more expensive. Repairs and maintenance on vehicles like these also tend to be a little bit more expensive, and because the vehicle is larger, it is more difficult to maneuver it in tight spaces. Now, a lot of people love sports cars, and there are definitely some advantages to owning a sports car. The advantages are the look of the car. People love the looks of the cars. They can also be very fun to drive. You can speed up quickly in them. They handle really well on turns, especially if conditions are dry. So if you're going around a bend, you can take that bend pretty quickly in a sports car. But if the road is wet, then your tires are not going to allow for it to drive well in rain. But one other advantage to owning a sports car is many times sports cars hold their value for a really long time. So if you buy a sports car and you want to hold on to it, that's fine, but then when you go to sell it, it will still be worth quite a bit of money. So it does hold its value. However, as you look in the disadvantages column, everything is expensive. So they are more expensive to buy. The repairs and maintenance on cars like this are extremely expensive. Insurance rates are sky high. They are expensive. You have very limited seating in a car like this, so a family of 5 is probably not going to fit in a sports car. They drive terrible in bad weather. So if it's snowing or it's raining, your sports car will not perform well. And they are a gas guzzler. They are going to suck gas up, and it is going to be very, very expensive. Gas mileage is absolutely terrible for sports cars. The last vehicle I wanted to explore was a pickup truck. A lot of people have pickup trucks, and there's a lot of great advantages to owning a pickup truck. First off, they're great for hauling and towing. Now, you do have to make sure that you get the towing package for a pickup truck if you want to tow things behind you, but you have a lot of versatility in the type of towing package you get because you can have it customized to the types of things that you're going to be towing. So if you're going to be towing a boat, you need one weight of tonnage to be for the motor and transmission to be able to handle. But if you're towing a motor home, then you're going to need a little bit more. But trucks are also extremely versatile and customizable in that sense. So you can see in the picture that I chose, this is actually a quad cab truck. So that means it's got 4 doors. You can get an extended cab rather than a quad cab. So an extended cab is when instead of having a full back door, it's actually a suicide door and it's only a half a door. But you still have a full bench back there. So if you have a family of 5, your family of 5 can still fit in your truck. You can customize the length of the bed. In this one, it looks like it's a short bed. It's only a 4-foot bed, but you can get a 6.5-foot bed or an 8-foot bed. And many people with trucks, some people get them only for working, some people get them just for personal use, but in general, they're very versatile. Trucks also tend to be very safe. If you are in a car accident because your vehicle is larger, many times you are a little bit safer in your vehicle in a car accident. And on the inside of a truck, it's also very roomy. Another advantage is that trucks tend to last a very long time. It may be that the people who take care of them, because they're so expensive, they take good care of their trucks. But overall, people keep trucks for a very long time. And because of that, they hold their value for quite a long time. It's very difficult to find used trucks that are not completely used up. And even if you do find a used truck, they're going to want a lot of money for that used truck, especially when you compare it to the price of an SUV or a 4-door sedan. Another advantage to trucks is that because it is so big, is that many times it's a little bit easier for people to work on their own vehicle if they want to do some of the repairs and maintenance. It's very spacious inside the hood of the truck, and it's spacious underneath the truck, and it's just a lot easier to get to those parts rather than it being a small cramped vehicle. Some disadvantages of owning a truck, I'm not going to lie, everyone wants to borrow it. We have a truck and regularly people ask if they can borrow our truck. We do say yes, but people are going to ask. So if you don't want people asking for your vehicle, truck may not be for you. Trucks are also not very gas efficient vehicles. That's because a lot of times they are set up that they can tow. And so if your truck is set up with a large engine, it's going to use some gas. Insurance and annual registration tends to be a little bit more expensive for a truck than it would for a 4-door sedan. And parts can be more expensive. I know the tires on my truck were way more expensive than the tires that I bought for my van. The last disadvantage with a truck is that sometimes they don't perform well in snow, and that's because not all trucks have 4-wheel drive. Now this one looks like it's got printed on the back of it 4x4, so that means this truck does have 4-wheel drive, but trucks tend to be rear-wheel drive unless they are a 4x4. So rear-wheel drive vehicles drive terribly in the snow. Now there are some other features you may want to consider when you are looking to buy that vehicle. First off, if you want a vehicle that has very specific options that you require, you may actually need to buy your vehicle new instead of looking for used, because used cars come as is, and if there's things you require that the used cars don't have, then you may need to build your own car and it will cost you more money. Some cars come with warranties, so if you buy a brand new car, many times there's a warranty on it, but some used cars also come with warranties on them as well. So if you're looking for a car that has a warranty, that car is going to be a little bit more expensive than a car that does not have a warranty. Many times, domestic cars are actually cheaper to buy and cheaper to repair than a foreign car. So if you're looking at just the value of the car, domestic is typically cheaper than foreign. However, you also want to take into consideration the reliability of the vehicle. So some vehicles are known for being very reliable. Toyotas and Hondas typically have a reliable name. I would say F-150s, that's typically what we buy for trucks. We really prefer that style of truck because we found them to be very reliable. And if you want a car that's going to last a long time, then you're going to want to take that into consideration. And finally, the color of your vehicle may matter. There are some colors of cars that are more expensive to insure because they are more likely to get pulled over by the cops. So for example, if you're looking at a car, you may not want to get a red car because those tend to get pulled over more. I will also say white cars typically do not show as much dirt on them, and black cars tend to show dirt nonstop. So if you don't want to wash your vehicle all the time, then you may want to consider the color of your car as well. So let's go through a few different practice problems. Okay, so the first problem we have is Jenny Jones is looking to buy a used car. She found 3 cars and their prices are as follows: $13,650, $9,790, and $10,980. And the first question says, what is the price difference from the most expensive car to the least expensive car? So if we look at these 3 cars, we can see that $13,650 is the most expensive car. And the cheapest car is $9,790. And if I take the difference of these two numbers, that's going to give me $38.60. All right. So if I'm looking at the most expensive to the cheapest, I'm looking at a price difference of $38.60, depending on what I really want. The next question says, what's the average price of these cars? So first, to calculate an average, we would take the 3 amounts and we're going to add those 3 numbers together. And when I do, that's going to give me $34,350. And I need to divide this by the number of cars I have. So I'm actually going to divide down. I don't know if anyone has seen this, so I'm going to show you how to do it, because I divide down quite a bit when I have columns of numbers. So I added all 3 numbers up. I'm dividing by the number of cars that I have so I can find my average price per car. And to divide down, I still take this 3 and I divide it into my largest unit. So 30,000 is my largest unit. So 3 divided into 3 is 1 time. There's nothing left over because 3 minus 3 is 0. So I can go on ahead and take this 3 and divide it into the 4. Well, 3 fits into 4 1 times, and I've got 1 left over because 4 minus 3 is 1. I'm going to go on ahead and add my 1 on as a placeholder right here next to my 3. So I can see that my 3 turns into a 13. I'll take my 3 over here, divide it into this 13, and I can do that 4 times because 3 times 4 is 12. 13 minus 12 is 1 left over. I'll take my 1, I'll put it over here with my 5. I'm going to take 3, divide it into 15. That happens 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. There's nothing to transfer over to this 0, so this just turns into a 0. So this is how you actually calculate the average of those 3 vehicles. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, let's say that I'm looking for a specific type of car. And I've gotten online and I've said, okay, well, I found 3 different cars that fit that criteria. One of them was $13,650, one of them is $9,790, and one of them is $10,980. Well, I can keep looking, but on average, I'm going to expect that my car is going to cost around $11,450. So that would be the reason you may want to look at the average price per car, or the average price of these cars. Okay, the next question says, Karen Kane is buying a new car and can offset the price of purchasing by trading in her old car. The cost of the new car is $14,950 and her trade-in value is $13,750. If she trades her car in, how much does she have to pay for her new vehicle? So a benefit to trading your car in is that they will reduce the price that you need to give them by the amount that you trade in your vehicle for. Now, if you wanted to sell your vehicle on your own, you can many times make more money than what they give you as a trade-in value, but for convenience sake, some people will just go on ahead and trade that car in. So if this person decides to trade their car in, I'm going to take the price of the car that I'm buying minus the amount of money that they're going to give me, and that leaves me with the amount of money that I actually need to give them when I buy that vehicle. And the last question I have here is Lindsay Lane is looking to buy a new car that has the following features: air conditioning, anti-lock brakes, a V6 engine, leather seats, and cruise control. How much will her car cost? Now, some cars may already have these features as part of the car, but in other cases they may or may not. Like leather seats is a premium item. Not every car is going to come with leather seats. Most places now already have air conditioning. Most places are going to have anti-lock brakes. And a lot of places will already have cruise. But in this example, we're just using this as an example to see how much a car would cost if those features were not already part of the cost of the car. So we're going to look up here, and it says that the base price of the car costs $17,950. So this is the original price of my car without any of those features. But I want to add those features on. The first thing I want to add on is the air conditioning. So I'm going to add $2,000. The next thing is anti-lock brakes. Those cost $500. I'll add that on. The next thing I want to add on is a V6 engine. So you can get a straight 6 or a V6. She wants a V6. So to upgrade, it's going to cost $4,800. I can also add on leather seats to the purchase of my car. And then she also wants to add in cruise control. So you can see here that she didn't add on every feature that was available to add on. She just picked and chose the ones that she wanted. She didn't care about the dual climate control, and she didn't care about the alloy wheels. So to figure out how much money she's actually going to spend for this car, we would just add the cost of each one of these features to the original price of her car. And if I do that, the price of her car would be $27,500.